the asshole for locking the door to prevent my husband from getting involved in my job interview? I, 33 female and unemployed, but God knows I have been looking for jobs. I'm a sales rep for well over 5 months. My husband has a high paying job. First, he suggested that I leave my career as a sales rep behind, not up to his wealthy family standards, they'd mock me for it a lot, and stay home, but I refused because I love my job and want to grow in it. He suggested he finds me a better job since he has a lot of connections, but that's not in my field. I've had several job interviews, and my husband has ruined all of them for me, and here's how. He'd walk into the room whenever I'm having a potential job interview, and he'd introduce himself and take over the conversation with the interviewer. He'd tell them about how good I am, but slip up in some bad stuff that eventually cost me the job. He's sabotaging you, let's get it straight. He does not want you to be working. Wait, hold up. Before all that, he walks into her interviews. Like, who does he think he is? God forbid if you had ever done that to him, he would have been pissed. So why does he think he can do that to you, let alone anyone? Like, no one should be in there when you're interviewing. His argument was that he's just making recommendations since he has connections and influence, but I told him to stop and let me handle it. He sulked, saying he was just trying to guide me and whatnot. Several days ago, I'd gotten a job interview, and after getting inside the room and before the interview started, I locked the door. My husband tried to come in and started knocking on the door, asking why I was locking the door and telling me to let him in. I put my headphones on and used noise canceling, but he kept knocking, telling me to open the door. After the interview was over, I unlocked the door and walked out. He went off on me, calling me disrespectful and awful to lock him out like that. I said I was sorry, I wanted to work for this company so badly and I couldn't let him ruin it for me. He got offended and said that I was being petty and childish and also ungrateful because of the stunt I pulled, and said that he was just trying to help me get the best deal out there. I said I'm not a child, and he said yes I was, especially with how I behaved and for excluding him from my interview. Am I the asshole for accidentally telling my fiance I hate his sister and she won't be a part of my wedding? First of all, I don't like that statement because it's not just your wedding, it's your husband's wedding too, and that's his sister, unless she's done something really bad for you, but like, get this bitch out. This situation is literally ridiculous, but this whole thing has caused almost nuclear warfare across the family, so I'm here to get a consensus. I, 26 female, have been with my fiance Chris, 26 male, for 4 years now. He and his sister, 21 female Lilac, are very close. They had a pretty traumatic childhood and always promised each other to be there no matter what. Lilac is a good sister to him, but as a person, truthfully, I can't stand her. She is literally the textbook definition of a bubbly blonde. She's overly charismatic, always giggling, and in general just acts too immature for my taste. She likes to pull pranks every once in a while on my fiance, and he gets her back, but the whole ordeal just seems childish and obnoxious to me. Okay, you sound like an only child, because that's what siblings do. Okay, first of all, she's 21. She's gonna be a little immature. She's not that old. Two, doesn't matter how old you are. Whenever I see my siblings, that's what siblings do. We just go back to being kids. We're gonna act immature just as how we are. You're only seeing her in a setting when she's with her brother. That's her older brother. Sibling relationships are different. Like, oh my god, like, so she hasn't done anything to you. You're just being a bitch. You literally just said she hasn't done. It's just her personality you don't like. So she's not gonna be in your wedding party. Like, suck it up, grow up. Talk about immaturity. Look at yourself. Mira! Ever since we got engaged, I knew I didn't want her in my wedding party because that means I'd have to spend time with her at my bachelorette and other parties. Fast forward to last night, and my fiance asked me when I plan on asking Lilac to be a bridesmaid. I got quiet and truthfully said I didn't plan on doing so. This upset him because he said he wants his sister to be a part of the most important day of his life and that if I didn't do it, he was going to make her a groomswoman to make sure she's included. I can't lie, this set me off. I went off about how I want to feel respected by him and to be able to enjoy my wedding day. He said he also wants to enjoy his day, which to be fair, I understand. This is where I may be the asshole. I told him that I have always disliked his sister and wish he would just not include her for once on a day that isn't even about her. He got quiet and went into our guest room to be alone. A couple of minutes later, I got a text from Lilac that she completely respects my decision to not want her in the wedding party, but she's hurt to know what I actually feel about her. I didn't want her to find out at all, and now he's told his whole family about our argument. Half of them are attacking me, and half of them are saying it's my day, so I should be able to enjoy it. Honestly, this whole ordeal is stressful for no reason because Lilac isn't even upset I don't want her in my wedding party, yet the whole family is upset, and my fiance has been very short with me all day. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she's not curvy, she's chubby? Oh my god, buddy, you're running on a thin line right now, and that line snap for sure. I'm already calling you an asshole for this, but let me hear you out. So my girlfriend, 23 female, and me, 26 male, have been together since 2019. She used to weigh about 125 pounds at 5'8". She was pretty thin. The past 13 months, she gained 25 pounds and now weighs 150 pounds. She continuously calls herself curvy, and that's just not true. Her boobs did not grow with the weight gain, and she is still a 34A cup. Her thighs and butt area did grow a bit, but she's still not an hourglass. You're an asshole. Holy shit. I don't like what? Stop. I wouldn't be bothered by this if she didn't heavily identify with it. When she was 125 pounds, she kept identifying with how thin she was. At 125 pounds, she was proud that they couldn't see anything on her CT scan when she had an appendicitis because she was too skinny. She wants to make a TikTok fashion page dedicated to curvy fashion. I got annoyed with her identifying so much with a body type that isn't even hers that I said, "You're not curvy, you're chubby." She looked at me stunned. I told her curvy was like Beyonce, for example. She said that she felt that she was curvy because she's not skinny anymore and not fat. I told her that's chubby, you're chubby. And she began to cry and left my apartment. Oh my god, wow, that's so mean! It's been 12 hours and we haven't talked since. I know this was mean, but it was true. I was so frustrated with the idea of her making this fashion TikTok account for a body type that's not hers. See, let's get to the root of it. Why does that bother you? It's like her own personal TikTok. Like, why do you care? Why does that bother you? It's her life, it's her body, it's her TikTok. Like, why does that? It doesn't affect your life at all. Also, she hasn't had an eating disorder or anything. I think she just naturally gained weight as she got older. Am I the asshole for stating a fact? Am I the asshole for telling my husband to stop trying to parent my kids through their dead dad? He's probably like, your father wouldn't like this. Your father is disappointed in you. And that is traumatic. That is not okay. That is bad parenting. But let's see what's going on. I, 36 female, lost my late husband years ago. I'm now married to my husband of 2 years, Jason. He loves his stepkids 9 and 6 and does a lot of things with them. However, he started doing something lately that I find weird and unacceptable. Whenever one or both kids do something wrong, instead of giving out proper punishments that we both agreed upon, he'd grab a photo of my late husband and start addressing it, complaining about the kids' behaviors while the kids stand and listen. You grab a photo of their dead daddy and tell them they're being bad kids? That is like next level fucked up. That is like traumatic. That is going to cause them psychological issues in the future. He then proceeds to tell them that their dad is mad at them and is disappointed they did this or that. I'm aware of the psychological impact this type of discipline can have on them. The kids would sometimes feel so guilty they'd start crying, then ask if dad is really disappointed in them because their stepdad told them he told him that. So now he can talk to the dead too? I told him to knock it off several times, and last night I blew up on him after I found out he told my daughter that her dad said he'd disown her if she did X thing again. Her dad's dead! Why are you weaponizing his death to his kids? That is so fucked up. I told him he was going too far and is causing huge damage to the kids and tainting their memory of their deceased father. He was like, this way they'll learn, and if they really love their dad, then they'll behave. I said, listen, the kids love and will always love their dad, and what you're doing is causing damage to their love and remembrance for their dad. He said I was overreacting, but I argued that I already warned him. He said something about him being a parent too, and that I have to respect his parenting and stop trying to act like the cool parent and to step up instead. He then went outside and stayed gone for hours. My sister said I'm being unfair to my husband and that he clearly cares about the kids, otherwise he wouldn't care about them correcting and never repeating their mistakes. So, am I the asshole for my reaction? Am I the asshole for changing my adopted son's name back to his original birth name after my bio son was born? Pregnancy and birth was kind of a miracle. So for background, my name is August Clementine V. My name goes back 5 generations now and has always been my plan to make my son August Clementine VI. Well, wife and I were horrified to find out I was essentially firing blanks and was told I would essentially never be able to father kids. Heartbreaking. We started the adoption process right away, looking in mostly foreign countries so it would go faster, and we were able to adopt a baby boy from Vietnam. His first name was Tien, but my wife agreed to change his name to August Clementine VI. We also agreed we would let nature take its course because miracles can happen. We always called Tien by his birth name, so did family, school, church, etc., even though his legal name was my name. Well, 7 years later, a miracle did happen, and my wife turned up unexpectedly pregnant. We have a healthy, beautiful, amazing biological son who we love just as obviously much as we love Tien. We like a biological son. Like the fact that you keep referring to him as bio son, just a lot of red flags right there. Like when you adopt a kid, like you shouldn't bio or not, like that's your kid now. I decided with my wife's agreement that because we now have a biological son, it is better to give the firstborn bio son the family name. We have gone through the procedures to get Tien's name legally changed, and our bio son has August Clementine VI on his birth certificate. Tien doesn't understand or care. To him, it was a fun day, and he liked playing with the judge's gavel. We didn't really tell anyone, but we had to tell the school. Somehow, word got out from the busybody at the school and made it back to Tien's soccer team, and we are now essentially social pariahs at the subject of massive gossip. R word, W supremacists, accusations of not loving Tien enough. We've heard it all through closed mouth and hushed tones. It's gotten so bad we are considering moving Tien to a new team, but his 3 best friends play on the team and he would be heartbroken. Am I the asshole here? Yeah, you for sure are. You can't use your child as a placeholder. And when you adopted him, you should have looked at him as your son regardless of biological or not.